that's not.
This right here?
Was spot right there, right?
They did like write 3 or 4 copies.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of important to read. Get out of the way quickly.
Independence Hall.
This is the old State House today because Philadelphia is no longer the capital of Pennsylvania. But in the 18th century, it was the active State House. And in fact, for over 60 years, from the 1730s all the way until 1799. 3 branches of government were occupying this building, from the governor upstairs to the assembly, or the legislature right there across the hallway, or down to the courts, including the Pennsylvania Supreme Court that you see in front of you. Most of the debates that occur here concern Pennsylvania. In fact, these rooms, for a long period of time, those were actually a reflection of fighting from Massachusetts not only continues, but it spreads. The situation keeps growing worse. As we enter the new year, we've got the publication of a very influential pamphlet called Common Sense, written by a man named Thomas Paine, originally from England. Thomas Paine is actually urging the colonists to think about independence. This is new ideas, and all of a sudden these new ideas are being thrust into the minds of thousands of people. Opinions are starting to change. Even right here in Congress, things are starting to change. On June 7th, 1776, Richard Henry Lee of Virginia stands up in this room and he proposes that these United Colonies are and are right ought to be free and independent states. The first formal proposal for an all-out break between the colonists and the crown. There's a lot more support for it in 1776 than there had been a year before. But still, not all the support that Congress wants. This is treason. It's pretty risky. So the Congress delays the vote, hoping to rally more support. But while they delay, they form a committee, a group of 5 men to draft a written declaration that will explain independence. The 5 men assigned to this committee were Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson gets chosen to write most of this document. Takes him about 17 days. Then he brings it back to the Congress. Just to be very clear, so we're on the same timeline, this happens in June. Independence is proposed to the Congress during the month of June. The committee is formed during the month of June. The declaration is written during the month of June. Congress has it in their hands, but they're still not voting. In fact, even when we get to the beginning of July, Congress hasn't made a choice. July 1st was marked by furious debate on both sides of the aisle. What was the best course of action here? Congress would finally make its decision on the 2nd of July. July 2nd, 1776, right here where you're standing. This is where the Congress voted to adopt the proposal of Richard Henry Lee. He had proposed independence. Congress adopts his proposal on July 2nd. That's technically Independence Day. That's when Congress makes its choice. But no one outside this building knows about it yet. So Congress isn't finished. July 3rd and July 4th, more debates within this room. This time over the words of the declaration that's been prepared. Not everyone agrees with what's been written here. Congress demands changes. Words are removed, sentences are rewritten. A couple whole paragraphs are actually cut from the original text. Jefferson's appalled. He feels these men have mangled the document. He's not pleased at all. But Congress wants the states to be united together. And so on the 4th of July, when the debates finally end, another vote is taken. this time to adopt the written declaration. As soon as Congress adopted that document, they ordered it printed. Printed copies were rushed in the towns, the cities, the states. The date at the top, of course, is the 4th of July. That may go to some distance explaining why the 4th is celebrated like that. This is how you and I would have seen it more than 2 centuries ago. This is what it looked like at the first public reading in Philadelphia. This is what it looked like in New York or Boston and other locations. Right here, the words of independence. The actual signing of the document, that took about another month. The signing of the Declaration of Independence occurred in this room on the 2nd of August, 1776. That gave the Congress time to get a nice handwritten copy drawn up, and then to actually have the signatures attached. But as quickly as Congress had declared independence here, they quickly moved on to other business. They've got other things to worry about. The Congress has declared independence. They haven't won it. The Continental Congress, folks, does not declare independence and go home. They remain here in the State House. They've got a lot of other work to do. They've got to win the war, for one thing. All right, that takes them another 7 years. For instance, Benjamin Franklin is dispatched to France to help secure an alliance, so we actually have a chance of winning a military victory against Great Britain. And the Congress tries to figure out a way to survive this. 1783, we finally get a treaty of peace, the war ends. So it's a long, difficult struggle. Congress is in the thick of it. The Confederation is actually our first functioning government in this new nation. But it turns out that the 1780s is a time of great chaos and turmoil in the new nation. The Articles of Confederation turns out to be a weak and ineffective government. It's a government where the states have most of the power. The national government has almost no real authority. People don't like strong government. They fought to break away from a monarchy. The 13 states, however, don't want to work together. They're fighting over things like land boundaries, taxes, the economy, the right to coin money. And many people fear that this is starting to tear the nation apart. So by 1787, a new convention of the states is convening in Philadelphia to try and figure out what's gone wrong and what can be done to fix the problems. This time, delegates come from 12 different states. Rhode Island sits this one out. They are the founding generation that never owned slaves and did not support the institution. The Declaration of Independence claims that all men are created equal. There's a bit of a contradiction here, so we have to figure